Sorry guys, I had some connection problems. Never happened before. Not really sure why it happened. All right, back to it. So we did end up taking the low. Let's see what time it is. So it's 38. We do now. So one thing to consider, guys, as we continue to push lower, we haven't made a new high on the 15 or the 30 minute. Um, so this low needs to change because technically your equilibrium is getting lower. So now here's our 15-minute range. Now we're overlapping just this fair value gap. So this one may be just a breakaway gap that doesn't get tapped. And then on the 30-minute, look at this. We now have a overlapping 30 and 15-minute here. Now that is not in the 30-minute premium, but it is for the 15. The 30-minute range is all the way from up here. So I think, I mean, regardless, they want all of us to be trading that breakout. Just trust me. Just wait. They're gonna punish people getting in early. They all 90% of the time they do. You got to be willing to let it run. Now the 5-minute, let's see. 5-minute is potentially setting up, but again, we don't really have that good of a 4-hour wick, but the draw on liquidity is very obvious. So let's mock the 5-minute up here. So we'd go dealing range high to low. We always want our equilibrium shown. We want to look at our PD arrays on that same time frame. So we can look at this level. I don't have super high confidence in it. Obviously, I like the PD arrays from the higher time frames much better. But this isn't like necessarily breaking the rules for me. I usually stop at a 15 though. That's usually as low as I'll go for PD arrays to really enter off of consistently. But sometimes when the market's displacing, I do use 5 minutes. I actually used the 5-minute on this trade in AM. You can see it right there. 5-minute high to the low. Here's my dealing range. Wick, not to it, but close through the fair value gap, rejection. And then no IFEG. There wasn't one, but I think there wasn't one on ES. And then I just took it to the next low. So I do all my charting on the NQ and ES chart, but most of the time I go over to the micros to enter. I've noticed some like variability with the charts between the micro chart and the mini chart in the past, especially around the contract rollover. We both have tapped the gap. I'm not completely sold on this though, guys, because this isn't very. What you want to see when you're right is speed. It's more than just did it touch my PD array. This to me, guys, is fade right here. It's choppy, lots of wicks, but no follow through. I think at minimum, this stop gets ran. I think at minimum that high gets ran. We'll see though. Being trading cautiously is hard at times. So we've now made a new low. So again, all this stuff's coming down for our range. Or no, actually that was a 5 minute. 5 minute stays there. That thing's melting. I don't have anything setting up that's clear. The RR is chalk. We're about to get a fresh out. I don't see that. Maybe we get maybe we can get an SMT at the Asia low temporarily, and then that give us some sort of retrace on the next hourly candle. So we got 14 minutes until that hourly candle comes in. Maybe that could give us um, enough of a bullish push to get up into our levels we really want to transact in. We could potentially get a new 15. There's some impulsivity for us. So maybe this SMT holding for this, just for a little bit here will maybe trigger some people in long. We get the timing of this right, man. There's so many draws on liquidity we could hold this through. So now it's back in this 5 minute. Look at uh so this would be my trading. No, I'm not. Yeah, I'm trading. Well, I'm not in a trade right now, but the market is open. Yes, it's the futures market. So the futures market runs 23 hours of the day, 5 days a week. So it closes from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern or New York time. But other than that, it's open. I know, but futures market's best time is Asia. London Open was 2 a.m. So it's 2:49. So we're 49 minutes into London Open. But yeah, that is what we're trading. London Open. But now you're talking kill zone. I'm talking about the first half of London's day. Yeah, I mean that's the ICT phrase of specific time windows. Yes, I'm familiar with what you mean by kill zone, but I don't. y- Yes, that's what I'm trading. The London Open kill zone. To me, I'm just uh for me, I trade ICT also. So me, I will trade. Oh, did you swing at New York? Yeah. So to give you kind of to walk you through my thinking. So let's look at the ES chart on this side. Get these off. So coming into London Open, right? So this 2 a.m. candle's not here. So we were stop ending here. To me, I look at the chart. I don't stream every London or I don't trade every London. But because we had all of these stacked lows right underneath us and very clear bearish structure, um, as soon as I saw that, I was willing to trade it. So it's usually probably 2 or 3 nights out of the week. I will see something I like potentially in London, and I'll trade it for the couple hours of that 4 hour candle. So you get that new 4 hour at 2 a.m. I'm picking my draw on liquidity using ICT concepts. Draw on liquidity. So I went through that. What my draw for this trade would be all these 4 hour lows. Two of them are hourly lows. So here. It did just sweep Asia. So those are my draws. Basically the same ones on NQ. Um, so that's my first thing I'm looking for is do I have a nice target that makes sense? I love 4 hour relative equal lows or stacked lows because I can have a very high confidence going into it that they're going to get hit. Um, and then really the next step of it for me is okay, how do I time the move to those levels? Okay, so if all these levels are going to get hit in London, what do I need this 4 hour candle to look like? Right? I would want a 4 hour candle, something like this, right? So where do I want to get short? I want to short off the wick of the 4 hour, right? That's how I look at it. And it's basically AMD is what I'm doing, but I just kind of simplify it for myself and I just say, okay, if I want to get short off this wick right here, if I want to get short off this wick, what in this price action leg makes sense for price to manipulate into. Um, so in this case, um, I didn't have anything. Yeah. Yeah, the only reason I say, like, I try to simplify it a bit is, like, I think the accumulation part of AMD, people get fixated on it and kind of overthink it because accumulation can be very tight time window of accumulation, or it can be very obvious and be like 30 minutes of sideways price action. Are you waiting for accumulation on the 1 minute? Are you waiting for it on the 5, the 15? It's all relative to the trader, and I think it can kind of overcomplicate it. So for me, I know that accumulation has to occur before that big manipulation comes. I'm not really even monitoring for that. I just want to see the 4-hour candle open in the opposite way of the way I want to trade. And then once I and then figure out where that wick's gonna be on the look ideally on the 4-hour, but obviously I can't always play all 4-hour POIs. So then like the 1 hour, 30-minute, 15-minute. So I'm usually using those 3 if I can't get a 4-hour POI to tap into. And then so I can jump on for London and I can see very quickly, is that 4-hour candle, is it going to present me that opportunity? And if it doesn't, then I just hop off. But yeah, it is AMD. I try to, because I'll get a lot of people that are new to trading join, and I just try to make it as simple as possible for them. It's like, you want to buy the 4-hour wick. If you can buy and sell on the wick of the 4-hour in London or New York, you're gonna make money. And honestly, the last thing about it, the difference between just AMD as a because you can find AMD not really to a candle. You can find it spread out between an hour and a half sometimes. Sometimes you can find it on the 1 minute happening. So with the 4-hour, not only am I seeing manipulation, I want to see it impulsively. I want to see the liquidations coming out, and that's telling me that the market is gearing up to then give me that delivery. If I don't get a lot of manipulation, if I'm only seeing, a spike on the 1 minute, that's not enough for me because for me, that can easily just turn into a doji candle on the 4-hour, which is where traders get killed, right? If we always bought good, expansive 4-hour candles and 1-hour candles on our trades, we would all be very profitable. The problem is it's hard to tell, is it going to doji or is it going to extend? For me, what I've found is when I see the 4-hour, and I use the 1 hours the same way, um, kind of as well, but really I focus on the 4-hour. But if I see that 4-hour really manipulating, then to me, I understand that as it's getting ready to then move in the opposite direction. If I get the low time frame confirmation, IFEG. So I use an IFEG entry, but I want to make sure that I'm catching the IFEG on the 4-hour wick or right at the 4-hour open. I will wait and miss technically doing it on the wick to get full confirmation for 100%. So it's not like I have to buy the wick every time. Like sometimes it flips back bearish, so it spikes up. It's bullish 4-hour candle, starts to turn over, and it's now turning bearish, and now I'm just now getting in. I'm okay with that. If that gives me that like a good 5 minute or 15 minute IFEG, I'll definitely wait for it to get a little under the 4-hour opening price. But the general idea is I want to catch the wick. And then when the candle does end up becoming a doji, then as long as I'm managing my stop loss to break even well, then a large majority of the time I'll just get hit break even because I'll get it on the if it's a if I'm buying the high of a wick, right? If I'm buying the high and then it starts coming down and I get in thinking it's about to expand and then it sits there and chops, it will more than likely, you know, go back to the origin enough where I'm breaking some swing low that I can go break even at. Does that make sense? Lost connection? Can you not hear me? Can you hear me now? Check, check, check. Yeah. I'm looking green on my end. I did have a connection issue a second ago while I was checking. No, it's all good, man. I did have a connection issue tonight actually for the first time since I started streaming. The system showed me you disconnect. Okay, it's okay. All good. So off of this trade, what I really wanted is I didn't have, if I look at the 4 hour, and really amazing, took your time to explain to me. Yeah, I think that honestly, that's my goal is for me, I went probably in 2024. I started trading in 2020. So by 2024, I was really, really good at picking the right draw on liquidity for that day or for that session. Like I would pick out the general market direction really well. And the targets that I was aiming at, 80, 90% of the time, they did get hit during that session. The problem was my timing. I would Of course, I had profitable days and profitable weeks at times, but just overall, I wasn't I wasn't super I wasn't super uh overall positive. I would come out, break even a lot, have a losing week, winning week, kind of back and forth because I would, take a stop loss and then I would get delivery on my second trade where I just got in early. Or sometimes, I would go back two stop losses, then the third one would hit. And now what obviously I trade less now and I've used more of the high time frame now. So I think that that's helped my overall win rate alone because I take less trades and uh, they're from points on the 4 hour, which hold more weight for the daily too. But anyway, um, but my big problem was timing. That was like my last thing that I really had to get better at in trading once I really understood basically everything else. So the simplest way that I found to do that is the 4 hour is playing the 4 hour candle. I kind of think of it like I played soccer growing up. So I kind of think of it like a soccer field, and where the 4 hour opens is kind of midfield, right? So as I'm trading, I have this little indicator just showing me the 4 hour open right here. To me, that's kind of in my head is like midfield of the soccer field in a way, and I kind of keep that as my um, reference point to where I'm because like right now, this doesn't make sense to me. Um, like going short and here to me is unless you accept that this wick right here is the manipulation, and that's where it gets a little tricky. ICT, AMD with ICT combo. Yep, that's exactly what. And overlaying those together Now, not using AMD as an entry model, not using AMD for simply only timing. Everything else is coming from ICT. Everything else is the same way that I've been understanding this, honestly, for probably 3.5 years now, but I've only been profitable for like a year and a half because my timing got better. All right, so we have this SMT holding currently. We did get a pop back up. Both or NQ has a nice rejection off the 4-hour open. And now it looks to be, now let's get this out of the way. Um, it looks to be wanting to inverse this. So the question then becomes, whoops, the question then becomes, would we take shorts off of this and accept that this tap through the 4-hour is showing that it's going to be a bearish candle? Because if I look back at the 4-hour chart, one thing that I do take into account when I'm making these decisions is, what does the last 4-hour candle look like, or kind of the last two? If one of the previous 4-hour candles have like crazy amount of manipulation on them, then it's more I trust a smaller wick a little more. Like having all these wicks in this area, like it's already bounced there and it's coming back down. Um, I because I'm so confident in these levels, I'm a little less stringent on having a a huge 4-hour wick, because it may not need that much um, manipulation to get there. All right, so now this is going IFEG. Let's fix our Dilling range here. Swing high to that swing low. That's our 50%. So we're through 50% there. I would like to look at potentially 50% of that, but I may not get it. So that SMT is going to be invalid at Asia low. We're on the very beginning, and I keep the same thinking even down to like the 15-minute, the even the 5-minute. Like right now, I see that big bearish expansion, and what does everybody's brain tell them? Oh, I'm going to miss this move. Let me chase it. But to me, I'm looking at this time, and I see I got 3 minutes and 30 seconds left on this 5-minute. This could just be the manipulation wick of the 5, right? Because if it's going to be a probably a doji or a bullish candle, it can open low and deep like that. But obviously it's not an exact science, and there are times that things run off from me that I can't participate in, unfortunately. But it keeps me on side more than off side. So now I would really like, maybe we get this. We have this IFEG overlapping this bearish fair value gap. Our only kind of scared point here is we have the untapped 30, the untapped 15, and an untapped 1 hour all sitting up here, which was my original. That's what I want. I wanted it to manipulate into here, but as you can see, we didn't get it. All we got was this one tap of that 15 gap. That was the manipulation wick so far right there. So and then that's why I'm okay at looking for shorts here, because the 4 hour did open higher into an untapped PD array. It just it's I was wanting more than that, but the the logic is still accurate. So now we have this holding. See if we can get it to pop up for us just a little bit here from this SMT, unless it just wants to run it. This needs to be down here. We got this 5-minute range, so we're definitely through that. I don't even mark that anymore. Now we got this range. All right, so SMT is not hitting the hold. 20 seconds until this 5-minute closes. I mean, even on the 3-minute chart, guys, this area is really your only place to get it to pull back into. The 15 doesn't really, unless it goes way up there before delivering to Asia low. Unless it comes way up here. I don't see that though at this point. We're already an hour in to the 4 hour. Need this thing to spring up for us. So our equilibrium is actually perfectly overlapped to the 5-minute PD arrays there. Um, so we can look at this. It actually looks like ES is the weaker index. It's making the a little deeper lows. Um, so it actually did tap on ES already. What would we be looking like for maybe this as our trade? 194, maybe something like that. All right, here's our pull in on NQ. We want to see it. Another way for us to be confident is we want to see it reject equilibrium here. It's okay if it like wicks into it, and I'm going to delete that on on NQ. I'm going to be looking at this on ES. I need to adjust my risk here. So I would be switching to the MES chart at entry. Look at the 2-minute. Potentially 5 minutes looking good. Because look at the time. We're literally, 13 seconds from the halfway point of this 5-minute interval. Pushed higher. I don't like what that's actually doing on the 15. Swept the lows, popping back up. Really freaking close to Asia though. That would be 15 points on NQ. We got a little 1 minute right here. I'm gonna change the color. Mark our IFEG over here, or our FEG here. See what we get. About to get a new 15-minute candle. This is a honestly, guys, this is a lot of wicks in the on the 1 hour in the direction we're trying to trade. Now it's only 45 minutes. I mean, sorry, it's only 15 minutes into this hour. So this one's still very new. Um, if it's already expanded this low, you really don't want this thing to start making new highs for sure. So I'm gonna probably put a little line here for my own. So that would basically be where I have my stop over here on my kind of mock-up idea. So our trade idea is structure as well, but essentially we don't want the 1 hour to make a new high before we go and take these lows. Um, do have a 2 minute now here. Be our highest time frame. Look at the 3. Got a 3. Okay. Glad we looked at that. All right. So we got a M3 FEG holding. It's not on there. Dang, this one does. That's our M2 over here. Whipped in. Oh, got nasty freaking relative E up here now. I would just probably take the 2 minute here under consideration because they both have it in common. Looks good to me. Quantity 16. 2 seconds, guys. Uh-oh. All right. Yeah. That off. All right. I'm in short here. Buy. Stop. Right there. Got is our Tuesday 10 a.m. So that's our previous day low. Got this as an hour low. Call this minor sell side there. And we have minor sell side level. So my main goal would be to hold it down. Um, well, I would probably look to take my risk off at previous day low on ES, and then start scaling out at like the 1-to-1 range. But I'm trying to potentially let NQ hit its previous day low, which I think will be somewhere in this range here. So we're about um, to the halfway point on the 15-minute candle here. Really don't want to see a doji. I don't want it to finish as a doji because the market's been a little tough on relative equal lows lately, in my opinion. And actually, I can go stop loss break even probably here. I think it's been a little tough on relative equals lately because I've seen it like go, a few ticks from it and then just spring up. So they eventually get swept. It's, again, a timing thing, but it's definitely edged me out a few times. And if I'm starting to close in a doji on this 15, because it's already started to kind of consolidate in this area, which gave us our opportunity to enter, but we need this thing to kind of get on the gas again. Now we're retapping all of this. Good lord. I really just get murdered on one 5-minute candle? I think this hourly candle is gonna try to come get this. Now that I'm seeing it, this hour's gotta start going down. This thing looks very bullish. I think it was gonna come seek this. See what this next 5 minutes starts. This would be the last of the 15. Well, that was quick. Uh, Trade copier? Word? Yeah, will be our delivery. I'm gonna go back to the ES chart here. Yeah, a relative equal high was probably my downfall there. Sitting there chopping around. If it just swept me out and it's not even gonna tap this 1 hour, I'm gonna be so mad. Look at the holy overlap of this. Honestly, this is just gonna give us a bigger RR. This is really what we wanted off the open. Maybe one, maybe NASDAQ gets up to it, but ES doesn't. That would be okay. All right, here's our tap here. This looks good to me. Now it's tapped. Very clean rejection there. Um, let's clean this up a bit. Uh, Tough L there, guys. That's looking great. See, that's what I wanted to fricking begin with, bro. All right, let's get this confirmation and let's get in this trade. Start framing framing this up. So 6 point stop there. Got a 10-point target. All right, let's see if we can get something here. So 17 minutes till the hour closes. This looks really good if it will continue to reject. Alright, we got a 3 minute here. Just tap, not on. Man, this I have so many PD arrays overlapped in this one spot. It's so dark. You can barely see my candles. So, little 2 minute in there. Dillinger. Want to see equilibrium get inspected. If not, it's going to go sweep the high. Looks really good. They may wait till that next hour. Got 15 minutes. Those lows just all right. Here's a new 15 minute. We now do have this, but it's not on ES. 5 minutes. All right, I'm gonna let the 4 a.m. open. Uh, the 4 a.m. 1 hour. I'm gonna let that open. Um, and give it a minute into that candle to see if this unfolds for me. But if it doesn't, I'll probably hang it up until New York AM. ES looks good. Might want to see if it gives us. See what we get here. ES is looking nice. I'm a little hesitant to get in before the 1 hour open. 4 hour looks good. All the time frames are telling the same story to me. And honestly, us getting liquidated our stop here and how it tapped equilibrium of the 1 hour range so perfectly, pulled away, expected the all of our PD arrays in that area that we had marked. It honestly looks even better up here than it did down here. Hey, we could potentially look for a cheap trade. The problem taking the cheap trade is you have this wall 5 minute gaps there, and then over on NQ there. But what I'm thinking is back to this 3 minute. So if the next hour, see that's 5 minutes away, so one more 5 minute candle. If that 5 minute, if this thing opens and gets us this sweep here, or way up here, I think maybe this would be the protected high. We definitely don't want the need these things to close and be respecting this the PD array. So we got 3 minutes to the 15, the 1 hour, and the 30 minute all close. And with NQ dancing right in this really high zone, we've we've got to wait for that. Even though ES is looking great, ES is looking fantastic actually. See what we get here. Got 2.5 minutes. This may go, all these may go IFEG, man. and it has a very good tap and hold of equilibrium. I do like that, but it is a little concerning if it actually holds above our PDA rate. If it's by a tick or so, there, that's what we wanted. Now we need it to hold down for 40 seconds here. See if the Bears can do it. Need this line. Oh, there it goes. Because ES is looking very good. And it's not unheard of that inverses it by a tick or so. Oh, and NQ's opened this. 15. Oh man. All right, let's think. Let's think. Here's our start of our next hourly candle here. Uh, about 16 ticks inverse, pulling straight back into that gap hard. All right, guys, I may take a little bit of an aggressive approach here for high R, potentially a high RR off of the setup, and just have a pretty low stop. This would be a position that I would like to potentially scale into, but for my initial risk to stop, I'm going to make light because it is a higher R trade than, I don't know, 15 could just, because my problem is I can't probably sit through all of these to inverse because then I mean, then my RR is going to be kind of crazy to the Asia low. Now, if I held it all the way to previous day low, maybe through that 6 a.m. candle too. Maybe I could go down there. At least worth holding a runner to there. That's still a 151. Guys, I think that this is a safer trade. Even though even though I think this one, if I was just trading evals, I would probably take this right here. But I got a little too much in the way of defense. Rambo, what's up, dude? Good to see you. Good to see you as well. So we got 15. Technically, we have this as a 15-minute as well, but uh because that's in the premium of the range and it's bullish, I would like to consider the one that's in the discount of the billing range more so. And then on the 5 minute, we basically have overlapping gaps, or not overlapping, but stacked up. So it's this zone and this zone. And now this one has gone IFEG, and now on ES, you have another clear dealing range. Looked really good on this 3 minute right here. That's what I was going to take this trade off of. I think he's already would have been pretty well on the move. All right, and then over here we got this M5, and then little guy. And well, actually, now that I'm looking, he actually had that as a 5 minute IFEG. It's not enough for me. Everything else is there. I just need my entry. M5 IFEG tap over here. Don't really get. All right, let's see what we get here. 1 hour doesn't have much manipulation, but we did just get a very expansive candle. I think this 15-minute right here is going to tell the story. ES doesn't have that gap, unfortunately. Man, look at that 30-minute candle right there. That is a gross doji right there if I've ever seen one. So we would want to see them potentially pop this up and get people engaged in longs. But we definitely we start breaking our probably that would be our 5-minute break of structure. That would be more supportive that this 15 is holding. Good fade on this so far. Tough. I feel like I mean honestly that there's our impulsivity for that 1 hour candle. So it's getting right to that equilibrium of that 1 hour range. That rejection is about as clear as it's ever gonna be. Now I don't know if it holds. I'm just saying to this point, 1 hour swing high, consecutive down close candles, 1 hour swing low, equilibrium. 1 hour swing high, hour swing low, consecutive down close candles, equilibrium. Look at that bounce. Not once, but twice now. But NQ is looking pretty strong on the 1 hour here. Got the bullish SMT here that I was basically wanting to invalidate in the assumption that, we wanted these stack of lows down here. So we're actually now, see before I speak, yeah, we're actually now making a 1 hour S&P. Yeah, Nasdaq's running. We'll see if that ends up holding. Look at that equal tap, 15-minute low, high, equilibrium tap. We have broke structure now on NQ, not on ES. It has to hold here. ES invalidates the SMT, then it may trend up. Which looking at the 1 hour, I mean, I'm sorry, the 4 hour, I mean, we do have some highs that it could go attack and then give that lower delivery. Oh man, that thing just melted. Look at that thing. Holy smokes. Holy smokes. Bro. Bro. Dude, are you joking? Are you freaking joking, bro? Golly, bro. Every single draw that I was freaking targeting. Bro. Bro, I have no idea what this candle is. What really sucks, man, is I literally just took that my loss on a short and then it went and swept. I shorted in here. Uh no, it was on ES. Yeah, right here. So I had oh there it is. So I had this trade. It came down. We had made this 5 minute on a made the lower low, We left relative equals with these. I thought those were for sure gonna get hit. We pulled back into the 5 minute and then pop back down. I sell on that candle, and then it immediately rips and takes me out. And then I'm sitting right here waiting for an IFEG to get in, and then it just dumps. Oh man. All right. I'm gonna call it, man. I mean, after that, I think my liquidity targets are smacked. That may even cause New York AM to be. I mean, I guess we could still go after the core and Q, but dang, man, exactly what I wanted. Trying to think, I could have, I was considering getting in off this M3, but I faded it because I had this 15 sitting right here. I really wanted that to go IFEG, which is why I had this here. But even if I would have got in off M3, then I probably would have gotten taken out here. That went about 21 ticks over. That's sweet. Yeah, I probably would have given that many ticks. I like to measure like when one side barely gets uh swept and you get the SMT with the other, um like how many ticks is it actually going past? I like not really like using it. I usually like to use like 12 or 15 ticks on NQ if I want to give it some to like above the high or low that I'm truly like basing my stop loss on. Just from like measuring that when it happened. So this was the trade. I could have taken this 3 minute retap here. I just needed to put the stop high enough. You look at anything other than that, you pretty much got left because even if you took this first IVG, you wouldn't have gotten in till down here. I guess isn't terrible. I guess I just didn't react that freaking fast. Could have maybe got a one down. Yeah, you could have gotten a trade maybe. Dang man, that sucks. That's how she writes sometimes, man. You got to be, willing to endure it. It's even worse when I give myself two trades per session I trade, and so I was sitting there with that second trade, just waiting for the same idea, right? Like I didn't change anything about the trade. I don't think this is going to give us anything. I mean, at minimum, I would want this 5 minute to come get tapped, but I don't think we're going to get that. I think it's going to run it. Yeah, look how far we are past this 4 hours. We were holding. So all I'm saying is the way that the core part of my entry is how do I get involved on the wick, right? I did slightly miss that. My first trade was a little early, assuming that that was the wick, but it wasn't. And of course that happens, but I had the point of interest tap, the low time frame reversal, IFVG entry. I had all those things. So I got to take that one on the chin. All it ended up doing was coming back and tapping a 1 hour where I counted a 15-minute tap as where the high of the 4 hour was going to be. But then later it formed a 1 hour and then went up to tap it. And then you got this rejection. Look at it right here. Thing just melted, bro. That is 250-point move. All right, guys. Well, I freaking hate that, but that's the game that we all choose to play sometimes. All right. I appreciate everybody joining. Uh, unfortunately didn't get that entry. Catch y'all on the next one. I'll do my best to stream the New York AM.